Unless you have been living under a massive rock, you have just witnessed Olympic history. You've seen Kim Woo-jin win individual Olympic gold after 3 campaigns. He has been trying to add the individual Olympic champion title to his massive trophy cabinet, and he's finally done it. Today, he now has 5 Olympic gold medals, arguably the greatest archer of all time. And I want to give you 5 key lessons that you can learn from Kim Woo-jin. 4 of these lessons are directly from himself. They are from him, his own words, and today I'm going to cover them. So the first thing I actually want to do, I want to look at his bow hand delivery. There was one thing that I noticed. I'm going to go to a screen share now. But there's one thing that I noticed. I'm going to bring up some videos of him. When I initially saw him competing in Paris in the team rounds and in the mixed team as well, I noticed something different. So we're going to actually have a look here at his bow hand delivery. Let's go for 2020. Let's go. This is from the Olympic test event in Tokyo in 2020. So this is about 4 years ago now. And I want you to watch his bow hand delivery. This is a really key aspect. This first point is all about this delivery. Watch on release what his bow hand does here, directing towards the target. So you might not spot this initially, but this is a really important point. And his bow hand delivery is amongst some of the best in the world. However, if you look at his earlier videos from years past, you'll see that his bow hand delivery is slightly less directed towards the target. So, if we watch again, you'll see, I'll play it in half speed for you, but you'll see here, if we watch, click, shoot, and there's a slight fade down. You can see there's a slight fade down, the arm drops, the hand drops, and the bow is directed towards the target, but it's slightly more passive than what you're about to see. So that is from 2020. If we now look at, this is from Paris. This is 2-2 in the gold medal match. So arguably a bit more pressure than the Tokyo test event. So this is really interesting. I'm going to zoom in for you. And this first difference is really important. Have a look now at his bow hand delivery. We're going to zoom in even a bit more for you. It will get slightly pixelated, but it's important so you can see his delivery of the bow hand here. And now watch this here. Watch how his bow hand directs towards the target. There. Now, I'm going to scroll so you can see that a little bit better, and we'll watch it again together. But look at this. I might zoom out slightly. Watch his direction towards the target here. See this direction. See how much more solid that is. I don't know how visible that is to you. To me, this is the massive difference I initially saw when I was watching the matches, and I thought, wow, he's improved his delivery into the target. It's much more active. And there are less shots when we go through. You'll see there are less shots where he drops his bow hand, is much more keeping it in line with the 10. So let's watch it again, and let's watch it on half speed like we did the other one. This is the key thing. This is the first lesson I wanted to show you today. Watch it now. The camera slows down with the movement and then directing straight towards the target. Much, much better. So I'm now going to go to this thing here. The reason this is so important, if you are directing towards the target and not fading down, it is much more likely that you're going to keep the groups tight, obviously. This is a very minor point because his delivery was already excellent, but arguably some of the shots previously, if we now go, for example, to, let's go to this one. Some of the shots previously, this is from the World Cup final in 2011, I think. If we now watch this, if we scroll to where it starts, watch the delivery here. In comparison to what we've just seen in Paris, watch the delivery here. Much more of a fade down and not as punchy towards the target. This small difference, I think this has made a big difference actually in his final result. And also, we can see this, there's another shot as well from the world champs here. This is from Yankton, I believe it was, the world champs. If we get that in the screen there for you, watch the delivery here. You'll see more of a fade downwards here. If we scroll to the bit where it plays, you'll see more of a fade downwards against Mete Gazoz, but you'll see more of a fade downwards, not as directed towards the target. And see that difference. Yes, it's a 10, but I think this is a really key thing. And I initially saw this in the matches and I wanted to highlight it here because this is a really important thing. So the first lesson for today is that bow hand direction. Essentially, making sure on click, yes, you obviously need to direct away from the target, but making sure you direct into the target and keep your bow hand up and keep your bow directed into the 10. This is a crucial thing. There's actually a common phrase in kind of high school or school archery in Korea, where a lot of students will be told on release in their head, the cue that they're told is push X10. So they're shooting and they're here, and on release they go push X10, and it's directing that bow into the target. So this is the first key lesson from Kim Woo-jin. The next 4 are all actually directly from him. They're all literally words from his own mouth, so I think you're going to enjoy this. So number 2 here I was lucky enough to ask Kim Woo-jin some questions. I think it was the 2016 Shanghai World Cup. A little bit windy in the stadium. We'd just done qualification. He'd just shot a standard 694. Maybe it was 696. I can't remember exactly. But I wanted to ask him what he was thinking mentally through the round. How he was dealing with the little bit of kind of changing winds. You often get like a swirling wind in the stadium and it's kind of tricky to deal with. So I asked him. I was fortunate enough to be there, and he's very kind with his time and he often answers questions. He's actually even given tips to Online Archery Academy members in my group as well. But I asked him, what were you thinking about in terms of aiming and keeping your group size? His phrase was, he was just trying to shoot golds. He was just trying to shoot golds. This is the number 2 tip. And this is really actually a super common thing that you'll hear a lot of top archers say. This is something in a selection shoot highlights video from the Korean selection shoot for Rio, I think it was. They zoomed in on Kibo Bay at the time. In her diary on the selection shoot for the Korean team, she was writing, just when the wind really blows, just try and shoot golds, sorry. So this theme of only trying to shoot golds, you'll hear is actually a really common one amongst top archers who obviously shoot a lot more than just golds. They shoot a lot of 10s. And it's kind of crazy to think about, because you think, if I'm at this level where I'm shooting a 696, I'm shooting 2/3 of my arrows are 10s, basically, more than that. 70% of my arrows are 10s. You would think they're trying to shoot 10s, but no, they are literally just trying to shoot golds. And the reason this is so important, you might wonder, why does that matter? Why is that an important distinction? Because it prevents you trying to over-aim and trying to fix on the target too much with the aim, which stops the movement. So this is a really key thing. Don't try and get your group tighter or too tight than what you can manage. So for these top archers, if you think about this, they are 70% of their arrows going in the 10, and they're thinking just to shoot golds. For a lot of people, the similar way of thinking might be, okay, I'm just going to try and shoot reds. I'm just going to try and keep everything in the red. I'm going to shoot smooth, fluid, good shots and keep everything in the red. That, you might find, actually gives you better results than trying to keep everything in the gold, because obviously their level is higher than most people, so you might have to readjust that calibration. So that is the second point I want to go with there. Now, tip 3 is also from Kim Woo-jin himself. This is actually a tip that he put in my members group. This is actually a question I asked him myself, and these are literally his own words, and I'm going to kind of expand this on the screen so you can read it here. I asked him, what is your focus during expansion? Have you tried expanding with different methods? And why did you choose this focus? So this is a super important point here. And the thing that I want to really highlight, there's 2 points here, but the thing I want to really highlight is this last, we'll get to the rest of it in a minute, but this last bit. If you put a lot of strength in your fingers, you cannot get a good shot. That is literally his own words. And what he means by that, if I'm going to bring up now some videos of him shooting, if you look here, let's have a look. Look at his full draw position. Look at his fingers. We're going to zoom right in, but look at his fingers here. They are relaxed, crucially. They're not massively curled and tense and tight around the string. There are some archers that you would have seen from the Paris matches where their fingers and their hook looks a lot tighter, but it's hard to get a good release. It's hard to connect to your back as well when you're doing that. So this is a really key point from Kim Woo-jin directly. And if you find yourself in this situation, there's a couple of things I want to mention later about how we can deal with it. But one of the key things is making sure your poundage isn't too high, so that it's forcing you to grab your string like that. Because, in his own words, if you hold a lot of strength in your fingers, it is not possible to get a good shot. So this is the third point that I wanted to say. The reason, like I mentioned before, that this is so important, if you are able to relax your fingers and get into full draw with your fingers more relaxed, and basically hold through your back here, by leading from your elbow and then holding with your back and then coming around fully, this is what leads to a clean execution, a clean release on the draw side as well. So this is a really, really key point that I wanted to highlight. Now, the fourth thing as well, the fourth thing I've got here is actually from this same excerpt. And again, these are Kim Woo-jin's words exactly. So if we go here, how does he focus on the expansion? I focus on the movement of the right arm backwards as a whole in order to shoot. I asked him this actually in a different World Cup, what he does to expand. And he said at the time he focused on the elbow moving away from the target, which is kind of what he's saying here with the right arm backwards as a whole in order to shoot. But this answer he gave is more precise here. He said, to be exact, I focus on feeling the part of the arm between the right elbow, so between the right elbow here and the right shoulder, so this part of the arm, as rotating around the body and the scapula moving forward. So by forwards here, he means towards the spine. The scapula moves as a result of this movement of the elbow towards the spine as a result. So this is really important. This is the fourth thing that I wanted to cover here. Both these two are about the expansion and they're really important. This brings me on to something I wanted to show you here. So while we're in this kind of part of the community tips that he shared, if you haven't joined I have a Telegram community and a membership basically. So if we go here to my website, we'll go here. You can become a member here. If you click on the become a member on my website, onlinearcheryacademy.com, become a member today. And literally, I don't know what you're doing with your life if you do not join, because it is literally £3 a month. And you get these tips from Kim Woo-jin, which he gave more than I think about a year ago he gave these tips. These are the tips you're missing out on if you don't join this. Some tips from Steve Weiler as well, previously Bryony Pittman. These have slowed down because of the preparation to Paris. But now the Olympics are over, I'm going to be getting more archers to give more tips like this, and this is going to be incredible. So you get not only these tips from all these archers, including exclusive things from Kim Woo-jin, Steve Weiler, you get weekly videos from me dissecting technique more. You get the entire, if we go here, bow training and drills library, all these drills you get access to. Expansion, for example, this is what I wanted to show you in a second. At the moment, you can't go into each drill, you have to log in. But as a member, you get access to every single one of these drills. But this is what I want to say. Give it a go with the membership if you haven't already. It's literally only £3. But more importantly, this drill is what I wanted to show you. This drill, see the arrow on the elbow drill? If you go with the arrow on the elbow here, Kim Woo-jin just said in his tip that he focuses on this part of the arm moving away and rotating around. This arrow on the elbow drill is one of the best things you can do for this. You can get another archer or a coach to put the arrow on this part of the arm and push against it so that when you're expanding, you have something to feel that you're moving that part of the arm around the body. This has always been one of my favorite drills, and it's been on the website since, I don't know, 2017, 18, however many years. One of my favorite drills. Everyone who tries this drill loves it. I would deeply encourage you to try this drill because it basically gives you that cue of exactly the expansion that Kim Woo-jin was talking about in that message there from here. It gives you exactly this, the part between the right elbow to the right shoulder as rotating around the body, and then the scapula as a result of that, as a result of this movement, your scapula then moves towards the spine. So this is just a great drill. If you haven't tried it already, join me on the membership. You get loads more as well. It's literally, like I said, £3 a month. And if you want to cancel, you can just cancel anytime. There's no commitment, whatever. It is literally a no-brainer. I tried to make it a complete no-brainer because I wanted something that literally everyone could afford. And you get access to like Kim Woo-jin, Steve Weiler, Bryony Pittman, videos from me, all of my stuff on my website. Yeah, absolute no-brainer. Now, the last point that I want to cover. This is the thumbnail. The last point that I want to cover is also from something Kim Woo-jin said in that same group as well. So we're going to go through here. What do you think is the best way to learn proper release technique? Kim Woo-jin's release. I actually did a poll. So we're going to go to the screen share here so you can see it. I actually did a poll previously, a couple of years ago, on who people think has the best release. And unsurprisingly, Kim Woo-jin came out top. So I asked him, what do you think is the best way to learn proper release technique? It's recommended to start with a low poundage and only gradually increase the poundage once you've correctly learnt the expansion and release movement. This is the parting tip I want to give you from Kim Woo-jin. Only increase the poundage once you can do your expansion and release properly. This is so important. If we go back to what I mentioned before, I'm going to go now to the full camera so you can see. If you imagine the release, and say, for example, you're not happy with your release at the moment, let's just do a little experiment. Can you release exactly how you want with no bow, no band, nothing? You can do this, and you can move your fingers like this. You can do exactly what you want. Can you do the same thing with a 5-pound little yellow TheraBand, for example? Or even before that, can you do the same thing with your fingers here? Can you do the release you want like this with this drill? That's a great drill to learn that. Also on my drills page. Can you do that? Probably yes. Most people can do that. Can you then do it with a 5-pound band? Yes. Can you do it with a 10-pound band? Probably yes. At some point, the weight becomes too large so that you cannot learn the skill. You can learn the skill even if you can't do it with a 10-pound band now. The weight of the band is light enough that you can learn to do the correct movement, moving the elbow away, this part of the arm rotating around the body, keeping the fingers curled. You can learn that movement with a 10-pound band, but you won't be able to do it if we take an extreme example. If you grab Mauro Nesvali's bow from the Olympics, which is probably still like 60 pounds or something, and if you try and draw that bow back, you are only going to be able to draw that bow back by grabbing the string as hard as you can. And because the poundage is so high, not only is it going to make your release impossible, but the thing that Kim Woo-jin said earlier, if you have too much strength in your fingers, i.e. if you're grabbing too much with your fingers, it makes it impossible to do a good shot. This is exactly why. If the poundage is too high, you cannot get a good hook, you have too much tension in your fingers, and then it's impossible to get a good expansion and release. So you probably don't want to be told to lower your poundage, probably not the right time of year as well. So how can you do this actually in practicality? A great way you can do this is with that drill, which is also on the Online Archery Academy website, with the drill, which is getting your fingers here, learning the release like this first of all. Can you do the release like this? You want to basically keep your fingers curled, you want to scratch your neck with your release, and you just want to basically slip off with these fingers of the other hand like this, and get your release like that. Can you do it with that? Then practice with a band, then get a heavier band and practice, and then do not underestimate a light bow, a beginner bow. Every club pretty much has these, but you can grab a beginner bow that you started shooting with and practice doing this. Grab some beginner arrows, practice getting the release how you want, and this is going to eventually transfer to your normal bow. You will feel a massive difference in your release. You'll be able to do what you want with your expansion as well. And then when you go to your normal bow, you'll feel what you're missing out on. You'll feel like, okay, the weight is stopping me doing this. So often, people think the weight is okay because they can just kind of hold it. They haven't really got a measure of when the weight is okay or when the poundage is too much. But doing these drills, getting the release good, and using delayed video feedback, I've got videos about that on my channel as well, but using delayed video feedback to check your release and see how it looks objectively as well, this is a great way to do it. So those are 5 lessons you can learn from Kim Woo-jin. I'm going to do a part 2 to this video, dive much deeper into some smaller technique areas and really dissect Kim Woo-jin's technique for my Online Archery Academy members, and I'll be putting that in the Telegram community later this week, so definitely check that out. For now though, I want to finish by sharing one more thing. If you like what you've seen today, or if you're a member of the community already as well, but you want detailed step-by-step guidance to take you right from beginner archer all the way to an exceptional level archer, you need to check out my video courses. I cover literally every single technique thing you need to know. Also, range safety, equipment, that kind of thing. There's a beginner's course here, an advanced course here, and for this week only, I'm going to give you a special discount with the code PARIS to celebrate Kim Woo-jin winning and to celebrate some of the most ridiculous archery I've ever seen at an Olympic Games. With the code PARIS, I'm going to give you a special discount this week. So check out my courses. It's courses.onlinearcheryacademy.com. I'll put a link in the description below as well. And they also come with a 100-day money-back guarantee. So you can try the courses, see what you think of it. And if you don't like them, within 100 days, just send me an email. I'll give you your full refund. Literally, I think one person ever has used that refund. Literally one single person. So I think that says enough about the courses. Check them out. I will see you in the next video.